Let me start off by saying I had plans, like clear cut plans for months for June 18th, 2025. The bestie's daughter, my little niece, she was graduating eighth grade. Like, that was a big deal. That was such a big deal to me, and I have made it a point to be a part of all of her big deal events, especially if she would allow or want me there. And this was one of those times. And so the day before that, I had a doctor's appointment, and then after that, I went to work, and I was sitting there taking note of what I would need to do, like what can I complete today to have as little as possible to complete tomorrow to make sure I can get there to her graduation on time. Um, and after taking note of everything, I was like, okay, everything should be fine. There's nothing that's going to prevent me from getting there at all, except for some extra random event that would make it to where I just physically can't. I thought that was like just a one in a million chance. And it probably was. But the way that my luck is set up, I hit that one. Starting at the beginning, this whole cancer thing, it really did come out of the blue. That is not why I went to the hospital or went to the doctor at all. It was supposed to be just a routine checkup. The only symptom that I had was, I guess, I was losing weight. But I attributed that to I was eating different. Um, One, because I was still trying to lose weight. Well, no, I wasn't really trying to lose weight at that time. But it was more, if you've seen the last video, I was living at the other house, and this was back in August. Yeah, back in August. Uh, and there is that curbside step to get into my house, up to the door, and to get to the living room and stuff, which is where I was basically hanging out. And for me to get like groceries and stuff like that, it was such a chore. Like it's the like I would order groceries and just getting them then from where they set it down outside to in the house, and it was a whole process. Like, it's not clear cut. Let's just put it that way. So I just wouldn't feel like all the time like going up that step and just doing all that. So I started juicing a lot more, and I would make like chia pudding for like a few days, and then maybe order a pizza because I know I can make that last 3. So that's a few days that I don't have to order groceries, and then I have cereal, or I have tortillas that I can, use with whatever I have in the fridge, and just eat off of that until like I have to make groceries. You know what I mean? So I was eating kind of light while still doing my leg exercises to try and build endurance, and I was doing like a lot of standing and kind of core strengthening um, to try and regain some of my balance and stuff like that. So when someone would say, "Oh, it looks like you're losing weight," in my mind it made sense because I'm like, okay, well, because I'm eating kind of like a poor college student right now. I'm really budgeting as if I don't have money to buy groceries or something. We're fine, but that's just what I attributed to, and that's what I told everyone, and it made sense to them too. Um, this lasted for until December. I was at my mom's house for Christmas, and I was in the bathroom, and it's just suddenly hit me. Like, I was looking myself in the mirror, and I was just like, you know what? You are losing weight. And I think you'd lost a decent amount. That's a little wild. And I guess on top of that, like, to me, that was my first time realizing that I had lost some weight. But it was concerning to my friend the next time I saw her. So she called my mom or messaged my mom and let her know that she was concerned. And gave my mom some recommendations. And my mom was like, hey, make a doctor's appointment. We need to get you back on your thyroid medicine. And you just need a full blood workup and to make sure you don't have diabetes or something, because I think you're losing a lot of weight. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. And so January, February, end of January, beginning of February, I called and made a doctor's appointment to start with a new PCP. And the earliest that they can do it was June 17th, 2025. Still, all the way up to that point, I didn't have any symptoms. Like, I was fine. I was still going out. I was still hanging out, when I can. I was just doing everything normal. I had moved into my new spot, and I don't know, it was so good. I was just like, I was fine. I was a little bit more tired. Again, because I have been off my thyroid meds again for a little bit. So that makes sense to me why I was a little bit fatigued. And so I really didn't think anything of it. Although, we'll say, I really think it was the end of April or real early into May. How I went to the bathroom kind of changed a little bit, and I wasn't how I was eating again, because living in my new spot, my grandma was here and granddad, so I was eating more and just a different variety of food. So I kind of just attributed it to that. I just didn't think anything of it. I would later find out that also around this time, my family started to see that I was getting pale, like really, really pale. And I look at myself every day, unfortunately. And I just didn't see it. I had no idea that was a thing. And nobody told me that until I was in the hospital. It's like, oh yeah, she was looking pale. And I was like, when were you guys going to tell me this? I don't think it would have made a difference, but at least I would have known, like, hey, something else is kind of going awry with you. Anyway, June 17th comes and I meet my PCP. She is amazing. We vibed right off the bat. I told her everything I've gone through up to that point, especially with my Ashis. Just side note, it is still so jarring that when they go through my chart and they see that I have Ashi's myopathy, I am the most knowledgeable person in the room. They ask me along with Google to try and figure out what it is and treatments and all that. And then I update them when I come back to another appointment stuff. Like, it's jarring. It's every single time I go to see any doctor since I've been diagnosed. It's weird. Anyway, I see her. We totally vibe. And I think they do it all the time. When you go to the doctor, they weigh you when you, it's just before your appointment. I stepped on the scale and it said 107 pounds. And I honestly, I saw that and I was just like, and the nurse lady, she was just like, 107. Okay, let's go. And I'm like, whoa. I know this is going to sound crazy, but can we do this again? Because to me, that was extra wrong. there was no way, ain't no way that I am 107 pounds right now, because the last time I weighed myself, which was probably not that long before August, I'll just say I was at my heaviest. I was like 165 pounds. So she said 107, and I'm like, no, please, we do this again? And we did, and she confirmed it was 107. So I was like, okay. So I kept that in mind so I can talk to my PCP about that. And I told her, and she said, okay, that's a little weird. So she ordered some, on top of the test that she was going to order for, me to get my thyroid and just like that full workup to get like a baseline of everything. She ordered a couple additional tests. Um, and that was it. We called it good. And I thought everything was hunky dory. Um, and like I said, I went about my day. I went back to work and was just trying to figure out, everything so I can be prepared to go to that graduation the next day. June 18th, the very next day comes around, and it's 6 a.m., almost on the dot, and my phone rings. Um, and I'm looking at it, and I see it is 6 a.m. in the morning. I don't know the number, and I didn't have to. I didn't have to be up for work yet, so I'm like, yeah, no. I just let it ring and turned over and went back to sleep. Maybe 10, 15 minutes later, my phone rings again. I look, because obviously I have to shut it off, and it's my mom. I answer, and she says, hey, so listen, because obviously I sounded tired. She's like, just listen. The hospital called. You need to call into work, tell them you won't be there today at all. Get dressed, wear something comfy, and I will be there in like an hour or something, in just a little bit, because you need to go to the ER immediately for a blood transfusion. Immediately. And I'm like, okay. And so she hit me again. She's like, no, do you understand everything I just said? I know you're tired. I'm like, yes. Not going to work. Get dressed. We're going to the emergency room for a blood transfusion. And she said yes. And I said, okay. Let me get ready. So I went and I just got ready, and I didn't know what was going on or anything. Mind you, I did get some of the results from the blood test the night before, and I spent some time Googling with some of the stuff that looked to be a little off or a lot off. And the ones that I was looking at, I'm like, oh, these look like the exact same things that were really, really low when I had to get an iron infusion several years ago. So I didn't think too much of it. But one of those was your blood count. And let's say, I think it says your blood count is supposed to be between like 12 and some higher number. Mine was at 4. So I was literally running around on fumes and had no idea. And I really didn't have any blood in my body, I guess. And I learned more about this when I finally got to the hospital, and the reason why they called my mom extra frantic, because they were thinking something actually happened to me. Because one thing that could happen when your blood counts get that low is you're at a very, very high risk at heart attack. And I was just a click away from a heart attack. While I was in the hospital, they were getting me prepped for blood transfusion, just waiting to order the blood. They needed to take some of mine so they could figure out what my blood type was. And then they also did a check um, just to see. It was a check in my bottom to see if they saw any bleeding at all. I hadn't really seen any. Like every now and then I would, but it would be because uh, I was straining or something to go to the bathroom. TMI, I know, but this is what's happening. Wait till you get to the ostomy video. Um, but yeah, and basically they did find blood, and he immediately said, "Okay, we're gonna admit her." And at that point, like I'm really confused. I still don't necessarily know at this moment what is going on actually. I just hear like them just running through the motions, and me, I'm just sitting there still like I'm here. I don't know why for a blood transfusion, which sounds gnarly. And it's an absolute emergency. Um, and then after that, they ran an IV and had me hooked up to all these machines. So they're monitoring my heart and everything. And almost anything I did, like they had left for just a second while I was still in this waiting-ish room for before they take me up to where my room is going to be, especially so I can get the blood transfusion. And I think I just my mom asked if I was comfortable, and I was like, no, I slid down just a little bit. So I was just trying to adjust myself on the bed, and a couple nurses came back in to check on me because they saw that my heart rate, it was just like it had elevated like a lot, to heart attack levels. So they were a little bit concerned. Um, and if that doesn't tell you how close I was to like literally at any moment, and I don't know how long this has been going on exactly, maybe since August, maybe sooner, I don't know. Um, but while I was in there, they finally took me up to my room, and I had to go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom, I use the bathroom, and everything was fine. There were no nurses, it was just me and I think my grandma. My mom had just stepped out to go um, run to the house to pack a bag so she can stay for a couple of days. Because, like I said, this was all just so sudden for all of us. And while I was in there, I was just pulling up my pants, literally just pulling up my pants. And my heart rate, I guess, was off the charts. And because of that, a couple of nurses actually came barging into the room, scared my grandma, scared the nurse that was just in there, and was just chatting with my grandma, and immediately came to my door, started banging on it while opening it, like, "Are you okay?" I was literally just pulling up my pants. That alone could have gave me a heart attack. That's how close I was. I had no idea this entire time. Um, and again, that is why I say my body is so ready for it is so ready for this fight because uh it has been doing it for I don't even know how long to not only keep everything pumping and in check, but make it to where like I didn't just fall over at any moment. Like I had no idea there was anything wrong. Anyway, all that happened. I finally get my blood transfusion. 3 bags worth, 3 pints, plus it was like a pint of iron, just straight iron, to try and get my levels up. And then they were also wanting to do. They were just asking a whole bunch of questions. They were taking blood to run a whole bunch of other tests. And one of the tests that they wanted to do because they found the blood in my bottom was a colonoscopy. Never had that done before. And they wanted it done ASAP. Normally, you have 3 days of prep. I had way less than 24 hours. I had to just pound that really, really, really nasty liquid I didn't drink all of it. I drank over half of it, and they said that was fine because I wasn't even really able to go to the bathroom anyway. So it just worked out like that. Um, so the next day, again, all that had happened June 18th. June 19th, I go for my colonoscopy in the morning. They run the tests. It was both. It was a colonoscopy at the same time an endoscopy, which is where they put the tube down your throat and look at everything in there. Um, and they found a mass in my rectum and took a little sample of it, and they examined it, and they're confirmed. They're like, it's this is a cancerous mass. So I was just like, okay. So when I woke up, they told me like what had happened. They said they found a mass. They couldn't see too far behind it because it was like obstructing the canal or whatever. So it was a decent size. It's kind of squeezing, I guess. And he's like, yeah, it's confirmed, like, this is where the bleeding's coming from, is because you have a cancerous mass in there. And I was like, cancerous? And he was like, yeah, I'm really sorry to report that. I'm like, it is not your fault. It's okay. That's a lot to process, but we'll be okay. And he asked me again, he's just like, are you sure you're okay? And I was like, I'm fine. I'm just okay. I have cancer. I'm gonna have to deal with this. We'll see what's next, I guess, after the doctors look at it. And he said, okay, well, give me a second and we'll get you wheeled back up to your room. They wheeled me back to my room. My mom was there waiting, and the doctors had left, and I was like, and she was like, well, how'd it go? And I'm like, okay, don't freak out. But they said, and my mom, that's when, I guess when I said don't freak out, that's when she's like, it's okay. I know. I'm like, oh, you know? She's like, yeah, I can tell when they confirmed the blood, I knew what it was, but I didn't want to put that juju out in the atmosphere. I was like, oh, okay. So that's when we sat down and were very selective on the people who we called to notify. And again, I think my mom is just used to being like the strong person. But maybe she was also just feeding off of my energy. Like if I was okay with it and just being chill, then she was okay and just being chill. So like she told her best friend, we waited a little bit, just a little bit, to tell my grandma because we didn't know where she was exactly, and we didn't want to distract her. I texted a couple of friends, but then I was like, okay. My mom was like, you have to tell your brother. And to this day, the only time I lost my cool and I went to a different state of mind, I guess a darker place, I don't know what to describe it, but to this day, the only reason why I cried was because when I told my brother, he did. And that's my whole heart. So worrying him and him crying, that did it for me. You know, that made everything real. But then I straightened up. I'm like, okay, no. I know it's going to take a lot for you to process. It's still, like, I'm still processing it, but I'm okay. Like, I promise you. I wouldn't lie to you. I promise you. I am okay. And I think as long as we follow all the directions that they say, everything will be okay. Like, it's all going to be okay. It's just going to be a little different from for a while, and I'm gonna probably have to go through some things, but I'm gonna go through it and it's gonna be fine. You know I can do it. And yeah, so that was that. And that was June 19th. That was really early in the day. I was at like noon, 1 o'clock or something. June 19th, 2025. It was confirmed. I have stage 4 colon cancer. And the cancer is also in my liver. It's been a wild ride. The next couple days, they were prepping me. I got transferred to a different hospital that day because they were thinking that one of the number one colon cancer surgeons was going to be able to fit me in to do some surgery. And I didn't know what the surgery exactly was going to be, but I just know that that's what was going to happen. And so I was transferred to a different hospital and was admitted there. They didn't get me in that day. They got me in finally on that Sunday, June 22nd, and the surgery that I was having was a colostomy. And that was them basically taking my large intestine and feeding it through a hole that they cut in my stomach. And that is basically how I go number 2 now. Stay tuned for that video. And then I was discharged on the 24th. Yeah, the 24th of June. So everything happened kind of fast. I somehow took to everything and was starting to heal and function kind of fast. Again, another reason why I'm so ready for this fight. I'm gonna be a Blue Ribbon Peoples. That's it. But now you know what I have, how it happened. Again, sorry some people who were just finding out the other day with my first video. But again, like I said, there's a reason and we're just gonna respect that. And yeah, I'll talk more about it at a later date. I just wanted to make sure I got this video out now because I finally got a date for chemo, and I start that tomorrow, which is July 28th, 2025. That will be day 1 of my battle and journey to being a Blue Ribbon Peoples. I'll fill you in on a little bit more, like exactly what chemo I'm going through, how that's gonna go. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. I don't know how I'm gonna feel with all this. Again, this is all uncharted territory for me. I definitely wanted the ostomy video to come out before any of the other stuff, but this is finally moving, so you'll probably get another cancer video soonish, because I am going into chemo now, finally. Yeah, so that's it for me. I didn't know this was still going to be long. My bad. It's still shorter than the other video. Haha. Okay, love you. Bye!